What is the most effective system to guard against getting the coronavirus? Hi there. Thanks for joining us for episode 234 of Plain English. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and you can find all the episode resources at plainenglish.com/234. On today's episode, the paper face mask is now trending in Asia and here in North America as fears of the deadly coronavirus spread. But does that face mask help? And if not, what is the best system for dealing with the spread of coronavirus? The expression I have for you today is guard against, and we have a quote of the week. Paper face masks are flying off the shelves in Asia and North America as consumers scramble to protect themselves from the deadly coronavirus. Tens of thousands of cases of the deadly virus have been reported in China, with isolated cases reported around the world. People inside China and travelers around the world are scrambling to do something, anything, to protect themselves, and the first place they often turn is to a paper face mask. Amazon has been sold out of many of the most popular brands. The American company 3M makes a popular version of the mask. They have increased production of the masks at their plants, both inside and outside China. Their plants now operate 24/7. The delightfully named Foshan Nanhai Beautiful Non-Woven Company, a Chinese maker of masks, had to recruit hundreds of additional temporary employees to help staff a major increase in production. They, too, are working around the clock producing new masks. China's government has placed large orders with neighboring countries. Chinese authorities are strongly cautioning people not to go outside without a mask in places where there are dense crowds. Near Wuhan, they are urging everyone to wear a mask in public. Well, urging might not always be the right word. In the Chinese province of Inner Mongolia, drones were flying above the street and admonishing people for not wearing face masks. A video shared by the English language Global Times, a newspaper run by the government, shows a drone with a speaker attached saying to an elderly, maskless lady, "Yes, Auntie, this is the drone speaking to you. You shouldn't walk about without wearing a mask." The newspaper cheerfully noted that the drone warnings were a good way of having some fun amid the crisis. There must be a solid medical rationale for wearing these paper masks given all the attention paid to them, right? Not entirely. Many doctors say that wearing a paper mask is better than not doing anything, but only just barely better. A person is most likely to get the coronavirus through the eyes or the nose. When an infected person sneezes or coughs, and sorry for the imagery here, but it's unavoidable. When an infected person sneezes or coughs, tiny infected droplets rain down on all the nearby surfaces, doorknobs, tables, and the like. The virus can live like that for hours. Another person might touch that surface and then touch his eyes or nose and contract the virus that way. A face mask would not guard against that type of transmission. A mask also would not guard against a person breathing in the small droplets that might be airborne. They're not fine enough to filter out particles that small. However, they're not totally useless. They may stop an infected person from spreading the virus via a sneeze or cough, and they may prevent someone from inadvertently touching his or her face. They don't fit tightly against your face, so it's not an effective seal. The best mask is something called the N95 mask, which are sometimes used by healthcare workers and workers who have to breathe in contaminated air, such as on a construction site. These filter out smaller particles and fit tighter to your face, but they still can't stop you from acquiring the virus by touching your eyes or face after coming into contact with a contaminated surface. Luckily, the medical establishment has pulled back the curtain on the most effective system for fighting the spread of the virus: your own immune system. Get enough sleep, stay healthy, and eat vitamin C, which is found in orange juice and leafy greens. Wash your hands frequently and clean commonly touched surfaces. These common sense measures are more effective than the paper masks, though they may not keep you from being berated by a talking drone. Quick reminder for those of you not yet signed up to get our emails. JR sends those out every Monday and Thursday, and they include a summary of the episode, links to 2 English language articles about the main topic, and the definition of 1 extra word or phrase from the episode. That's in addition to the one we talk about. So if you get those emails, then you'll learn 104 new words or expressions a year. That's 2 for each of the 52 weeks in a year. So if you're not on there yet, come join us at plainenglish.com/mail. plainenglish.com/mail. It's a phrasal verb today. The expression I have chosen is to guard against. When you guard against something, you try to prevent something bad from happening. When you guard against something, you are taking preventative measures. You are trying to do things in advance that make it less likely that something bad happens. There are 2 ways to use this. Right after the word against, you can either put a noun, something bad, or you can put an ing verb. Let's take an example of the flu, the influenza virus. You have heard of the flu shot, which you can get voluntarily before flu season starts. From the perspective of a public health official, the flu shot guards against the spread of influenza. In this case, what's our bad thing? It's the spread of influenza. The flu shot guards against the spread of influenza. To an individual, the bad thing isn't so much the spread of the virus, But the bad thing would be getting the virus yourself. So an individual person might say he has gotten the flu shot to guard against getting influenza. So you can see the two ways of using guard against here. You can guard against the spread of influenza, and you can guard against getting influenza, either the spread, a noun, or getting, an ing verb, can come after the word against. If you're an investor, you might have invested in stocks, bonds, real estate, private companies, whatever. You might guard against heavy losses by holding some of your money in cash in a safe bank account. In other words, so if the economy takes a turn for the worse, your stocks will be worth a lot less. Your real estate might decline in value, but your cash won't change in value. You can guard against losses or guard against losing a lot of money by holding some cash in your portfolio. If you live in a country with a volatile currency, you might guard against inflation by either keeping some money in euros or US dollars, or by holding hard assets like real estate that have intrinsic value. Those are two ways to guard against inflation if you live in a country with an unstable currency. Many international travelers are trying to guard against getting the coronavirus by wearing paper masks. This may not be a very effective way to guard against getting the virus. However, it might be a good way to guard against spreading the virus to others. Big companies invest a lot of money to guard against data breaches. A data breach is when private data is leaked or stolen by hackers. If you hold consumer data, you need to guard against data breaches, guard against hackers. The risk is present for anyone who serves consumers, including me with Plain English Plus. I guard against these risks by using services that hold credit card data for me. I don't want to hold that data, so I have a super secure, well-established payment provider do it for me. That would be either Stripe or PayPal in my case. I'm guarding against a data breach by not holding sensitive data to begin with. Retail shops have to guard against theft. They may do that by putting up signs, having a security guard, using electronic tags, security cameras, and training for staff members. Those are all good ways to guard against theft, to guard against losses. This is a funny quote for you this week. I'm reading a book about the history of business in America and came across a good quote from a professor of marketing and advertising. His name is Stuart Henderson Britt, and here's the quote. "Doing business without advertising is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you are doing, but nobody else does." I just love these quotes that take a business topic and make it visual and funny. This means that if you have to get the word out about your business, it's not enough to just do something good. You have to proactively get out there and do some marketing, some advertising. So here's that quote once more. Doing business without advertising is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you are doing, but nobody else does. That's all for today. Thanks again for joining us for episode 234. Coming up next time, the internet on an entire continent slowed down because 2 undersea cables broke. We'll tell you all about that on Monday's episode. I should say Thursday's episode. That's on Thursday. If you enjoyed today's episode, then you'll love Plain English Plus, our new membership. One of the best parts about it is the video lessons, which help you express more complicated ideas. Often when we learn to speak in simple, direct sentences, but then we get to a point where we want to start making connections between ideas and expressing ourselves in a more complicated way. And that's exactly what the video lessons are all about. We have a new one for each episode. So if that sounds like something that would help you in your English development, then come join us at plainenglish.com/plus. plainenglish.com/plus.